Today I'm going to be showing you what Plants and Plants vs. Zombies 2 would look like if they were made in the Plants vs. Zombies 1 art style. Now first we're going to be starting off with Bong Choy, and well, this art style actually looks really good. The only really bad thing about it though is that the face sort of looks weird. As I would say, basically the entire plant really resembles what the Bong Choy looks like besides the faces, for whatever reason the eyes are just sort of weirdly made. But besides that, I think that the artwork actually does a pretty good job putting Bong Choy into Plants vs. Zombies 1 art style, as well I think it looks pretty nice. And well, next up we have the Iceberg Lettuce. And well, this is actually just a really detailed artwork, as well as you can tell there's just a lot of detail on the Plants vs. Zombies 1 Iceberg Lettuce. As well, the person that created this art just did a really good job fitting. You could sort of see every individual ice shard on it, well, but overall just looks really good. As it was just really nicely detailed and everything, and it actually looks like it would actually be able to be in Plants vs. Zombies 1 with that sort of art style. Then next we have the Bloomerang, and well, this one looks very similar to this Plants vs. Zombies 2 counterpart, except it's just a bit more simplified. And well, that's what a lot of these plants will be, as well the Plants vs. Zombies 1 art style is just a lot simpler, but it also just stands out a lot more than the Plants vs. Zombies 2 art style. So yeah, once again, I think this one fits in pretty well with the Plants vs. Zombies 1 plants, and well, it looks pretty nice. And well, next we have the Power Lily, and well, just like the Bloomerang, it still looks very similar to the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design, except that it's just a bit more simplified. And well, I like the leaf base on it and everything, and overall, it looks pretty good, and they did a great job with the artwork as well, it just looks nice. Now next we have the Snapdragon, well, this one's actually extremely detailed. As you can tell, they just added a ton of detail to this plant, as well everything on it is just a bit more amplified and everything. And well, there's also a bit of fire on the back of the Snapdragon, which is just a pretty nice detail that they added, and well, overall it looks great. Then next we have the Spring Bean, and well, obviously it isn't as detailed as the Snapdragon, but that makes sense as well the Spring Bean is overall a pretty simplistic plant. But everything on this plant still looks pretty nice, and it fits in well with the Plants vs. Zombies 1 art style. Now next we have the Coconut Cannon. Now just like the Snapdragon, the Coconut Cannon just has a lot of detail on it, as everything is just a bit more detailed compared to the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design, and whoop, it looks great. As well, I like how the artwork is just made and everything is just a bit more detailed than the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design, as well, it just looks a lot better and fits in really well with the Plants vs. Zombies 1 art style. Now next we have the Citron. Now, I think that this design is sort of weird, especially for the eyes, as well. I just think that the left eye is just a bit too big, as well. It just looks a little weird. But besides the eyes, I think that the rest of the style on this plant overall looks pretty good, and it fits in well with the PvZ 1 design. I just think that I should have made the eyes a little different, as one eye is just way too big. Now, next up we have the Bowling Bulb. Now, I think that the bowling bulbs overall look pretty good. The only really thing that I don't like about them is that the faces on all of them are the exact same. As well, in Plants vs. Zombies 2, they're all just slightly different, but on this design, they're all the exact same, and they sort of look a lot weirder in the Plants vs. Zombies 1 design. But overall, I still think that it looks pretty good. I just would like if the faces were just changed a little bit, as they're all the exact same. Now next we have the Guaca dial, and well, this one's actually extremely detailed. As well, the face and teeth are just a lot more detailed, and it actually makes it look more realistic than the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design, and well, it just has a lot more detail to it. And well, I'm not sure that I like this design that much. It's just a lot more detailed than the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design, but I do think that the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design is a lot better, but this one sort of fits in a little better with the PvZ 1 art style. I do think, though, that it just looks a bit too realistic to be in the actual game. Now next up we have the Homing Thistle, and well, once again, this one just looks really good. As well, I like all the details on it and everything. I like how they made the pink part on this plant as well, but it's just nicely detailed and everything, and it looks good. So yeah, overall, this one's definitely a lot better than the Guaca dial, as well, but Guaca dial just didn't really fit in with the rest of them. Now next we have the Banana Launcher. Now, I like everything on this art style besides the eyes, as well, once again, I just think that the eyes just look a little weird. As well, I think that the eyes should be closer to the same size, as well, I don't really like how one eye is bigger than the other, but besides, I think that the rest of the details on the plant just look really nice. As well, I just like how everything is made, and well, overall, it looks pretty good. Now, next up we have the Ghost Pepper, and well, this one actually just looks a lot stranger than the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design. As well, the face on it is just very similar to the bowling bulbs, as well, it just doesn't really have any eyes. As in the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design, you can see a little blue light inside of the eyes, but on this one, there's just no color at all, which just gives it a lot more of a strange look. And while everything else on this art style overall looks pretty good, the stem is basically just the exact same stem as the jalapeno. Now next we have the sweet potato, and well, once again, I don't really like the eyes on this one. And while I don't really know what it is with these plants, I just don't really like the eyes on some of them, as well they just sort of look weird. But besides, I think that the rest of the sweet potato is overall just really nicely designed, and it looks really good, and it seems like it could actually be in Plants vs. Zombies 1. Now next we have the hot potato. And while this one has a lot more detail than the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design, it actually has a much more of a potato shape to it and everything, and it actually has a bit more detail on it. I also like the steam above it as well, but just gives it a bit more detail, and I think that it looks nice. Now next we have the pepper pole. Now I think that this one's actually just really good, and there's not really any complaints about this one as well, but it actually fits perfectly in with the Plants vs. Zombies 1 art style. As of everything about it just looks really good, and well, there's really no complaints with this design, as though in my opinion I just think that it looks really good and basically everything about it looks correct. Now next up we have the Charguard, and well, the only thing that I don't really like about this one is that the branches are way too close together. As of on the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design, they're a bit more spread out, but on this one, they're all just kind of clumped together. I think that the back one should be a little further out, and that the front one should also be a little further out, just to give it a bit more detail. But yeah, overall, the color on it looks a bit better, and well, the face also looks pretty good. Now next we have the Hurric, and well, this one's overall just really simplified. As of it just doesn't really have as much detail as the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design, but it still fits in well with the Plants vs. Zombies 1 art style, so it sort of fits in well with it. Now next we have the Stunion. Now the Stunion overall looks pretty nice, and all the details on it look good and everything, and I like the detail on the actual body of the plant, well the rest of it looks good. And well, there's just overall not really that much detail on this plant, so it's just a pretty simplistic one, so all the art on it looks good. Now next we have the Roa Bay again. Well, I actually really like the Plants vs. Zombies 1 design as well, but just actually has a lot of detail to it. As well, I like how the colors blend and everything, and it looks nice, and well, overall, this is just a really good art style, and I really like how they made it. As of all the details on it, just look really good, and I really like how it looks, and it's definitely one of my favorite designs out of all of these. Now next we have the Dandelion. Well, overall, I really like how this design is made. The only thing that really ruins the design for me is the actual bombs on it. As of on the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design, they're actually inside the plant. Since they float out, you don't really see them on the actual design, but on this one, they're very clear, and well, I don't really like that. As well, it sort of takes away from the design, but besides that, I think that the rest of the Dandelion is overall nicely detailed, and it looks good besides those details. Now next up we have the Kiwi Beast. Now this one actually has a lot of detail on it, as of all the fur on it is actually just really nicely detailed, and well, it's a lot clearer on this design than the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design. And well, the face and everything like the eyes and the mouth are just a lot more detailed, and well, overall in my opinion, I just really like how it looks. Now next we have the Electric Current. Well, I think that the Plants vs. Zombies 1 design sort of looks weird. As well, I just think that the face just looks really strange, and well, it doesn't really have any of the lightning around it or anything, which just makes it look really lacking. So yeah, overall, I don't really like this design that much, as well, but it's just lacking a lot of detail to it, and well, the face also looks sort of strange. And well, next we have the Sapling. Now, once again, I think that this one just looks really strange, especially because the wood color just sort of looks off, and the eyes are just really wide open. And the eyes just give off a really strange look in my opinion. Well, the wood color is sort of weirdly colored and everything, and well, the rest of it looks pretty good, especially with the details like the leaves, but the actual eyes and everything just makes it look really weird. So yeah, that was Plants vs. Zombies 2 plans and Plants vs. Zombies 1 art style. Comment down below which of these Plants vs. Zombies 1 art styles is your favorite, and yeah, have a great day.